Hi there, and welcome to this Class of 2022 week session on staying connected with Sheffield Hallam University. My name's Chris Webb. I'm a Senior Employability Advisor with the Sheffield Hallam Careers Employability Service, and I've included my contact details on the screen if you do want to get in touch about the session after you've watched it. So in this session today, what we're going to be talking about is a couple of things that are linked into the idea of staying connected with Sheffield Hallam as a university after you finish your degree. Now, it's something that not many students think about. Understandably, once you're in university, you're already connected. But after you graduate, it's worth bearing in mind that there are still lots of different ways that you can stay connected with the university in ways that can benefit you within your career. So what we're going to be looking at today is, first of all, talking about the Hallam Collective platform. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that is in a second. We're going to give an overview of the platform itself, show you how it works, and talk about the different functions that you can use to kind of help you both whilst you're still a student and after you've finished. We're then going to talk about the benefits of using professional networks and mentoring, and that's something that's tied into the Hallam Collective platform, both for while you're still a student and once you're a graduate. We're then going to talk about other alumni benefits, so things that you can still continue using after you've finished with us here at the university, and also about our lifelong careers and enterprise support offer, and a reminder of the support that our two teams can offer to you whilst you're a student and after you finish as well. If we've got time at the end, which I think we will do, we'll open up for any kind of questions that people might have. And if not, we'll leave some details about how you can get in touch with our careers team if you have any questions about the content of this session. So first up, we're going to talk about the Hallam Collective. So the Hallam Collective is a global network of 2,000 plus Sheffield Hallam University students and graduates. So it's a little bit like a kind of closed version of LinkedIn. And again, we're going to do a demo of the platform in a second so you can see what it looks like. It's an online space where you can share opportunities, job opportunities, events. It's a place to seek kind of careers advice and support, and a place where you can build mentoring relationships with professionals. And again, we'll show you what that looks like in a second. It's open to all Sheffield Hallam students and graduates from any graduating class. So it's growing all the time in terms of numbers, and it's exclusive for Sheffield Hallam students and graduates. So although there will be some people on the platform like mentors for the career mentoring scheme that are outside of Sheffield Hallam, the majority of people on here are Sheffield Hallam students and graduates, and therefore it's kind of a little bit more of a kind of an informal, I guess, friendly and sort of open platform with people that you have an immediate connection with through having studied at Sheffield Hallam University. So in terms of the features of the Hallam Collective, we could show you lots of screenshots, but perhaps easier than that is just to show you how the platform works. So in a second, I'm going to change my screen. I'm going to show you the Hallam Collective platform, what it looks like, some of the features, and how you can kind of get the most out of it if you choose to use it whilst you're studying or after you graduate. So this is the Hallam Collective platform. It's very easy to find. We've included the details on the slides that we'll send out or we'll kind of make available for people that want them. And essentially, it's the hallamcollective.com. You can sign up with any details really that you'd expect for most kind of platforms. So you can sign up via Google, you can sign up with your LinkedIn details, or just with an email and password. The great thing about the Hallam Collective is that if you are on LinkedIn, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you can actually map all of your details across to this platform. So it just makes life a little bit easier for you. So this is what the platform looks like, very similar to a lot of kind of social media profiles, particularly things like LinkedIn. As we scroll down, you can see that there's a kind of jobs board on the side, so job opportunities kind of being advertised on the platform. You can see that there's a news feed where people might be promoting elements of for example, kind of events, job opportunities. It might be kind of mentoring opportunities, things that you might want to access as a student and potentially as a graduate as well. You'll also see that there's requests for people from support. So it might be that as a student or later on as a graduate, you've got something that you particularly want to ask, whether that's kind of for advice from people that might be on the platform, about a particular kind of job area or about opportunities, internships in a particular kind of industry. And again, you can put those requests directly on the newsfeed. The other thing that you can do is also go into the mentoring category, and you can find people who are willing to help, who are already kind of offering you the opportunity to kind of seek out advice or sort of career support. So when you sign up to the platform, you'll get an opportunity to kind of put the types of industries you're interested in. And this will allow you to kind of have a breakdown of areas that you maybe particularly are interested in meeting people from. But again, you have also got the search bar as well. So you can kind of find people from the directory by simply kind of typing in a search of the type of job role, type of industry you might be interested in, whether that be kind of marketing, engineering, creative arts, or anything else that you might be kind of studying or interested in working in the future. So you can see here I've got a few different areas. I've got education, consulting, business development. So let's have a look at consulting. And once you kind of click on a particular area, it will show people in your location who's specializing in the things that you have an interest in. So we can see at the top here, we've got Amaka and John. Both of them, above their names, they have the willing to help banner, which shows you that they're very open to kind of helping people on the platform. You can see what they do. You can see kind of where their background is, what their degree background is. And when you click onto them as an individual, you'll be able to see that there'll be ways to contact them through the platform. So although there will be links to their kind of LinkedIn profiles or other social media sort of profiles that they might have available, they will have their own profile on the platform, on the Hallam Collective, and a way for you to message them directly through the platform. And that's the best way to get in contact with people who are using the Hallam Collective. So really useful to kind of be aware of some of the different things that are available on this platform, which we're going to talk a little bit more about during the session. Also worth being aware that there will be some specific groups as well. So if you're a class of 2022 student and you go onto the group section, you may well see that there are already groups for class of 2020, class of 2021, and there will be a group that opens up for you there as well. If you're involved in the career mentoring program, so that's a program that's usually opened up and targeted specifically at final year students at the start of each academic year, you may already be on the Hallam Collective and part of a group through that scheme. So just a very quick overview of what the Hallam Collective looks like, how you can get onto it and how you can use it to kind of find opportunities, which we'll expand upon a little bit more through the rest of the session. So we've talked a little bit about the Hallam Collective and shown you kind of how it works. And I guess what you might be asking is why would I sign up to something like this? So really kind of one of the key benefits of the Hallam Collective is it's a great professional network, a little bit like LinkedIn, which again, we're going to kind of come on to a little bit later. So in terms of the benefits of using professional networks, there are just a huge variety of people on platforms like the Hallam Collective or LinkedIn. These include students. So these might be students from your course area or from other course areas. These are graduates, so alumni, people who might have done your course or been at Hallam recently or kind of further afield in the past. There might be staff on there as well. So again, it's a way to kind of connect with people on a more professional basis. And there may be kind of other employers and mentors, as we mentioned, from outside of the university who've offered their support to Sheffield Hallam students. So it's a really nice mix of different people coming together to kind of offer support in a professional basis. Now, what you might be kind of asking is, how do I go about sort of establishing these networks, building this relationship with people in a professional way? It can be kind of quite daunting, quite intimidating sometimes. So here are some tips that will hopefully help you if you're kind of getting onto platforms like Hallam Collective and LinkedIn, but thinking, what do I do? Where do I go with all of this? So the first thing that we would say is research is really important. So you've seen on the Hallam Collective demo that I did a minute ago, that you can find people, look at their profiles, find out what it is that they're doing on that platform, what support they have to offer, what projects they've been involved in. And this is always a really useful starting point. So to kind of think about, okay, what are these people working on? What do they do? So that if I do approach them, I've got an idea of who they are and can kind of talk about that with them. The second point, which is kind of linked into that, is, ask them about their interests. People don't necessarily mind getting messages from people on a professional basis, but the one thing that is sometimes kind of off-putting is just a message to say, let's connect, with no real kind of preamble, no real detail. So really important to ask about their interests. Have you kind of seen on their profile, for example, that they've been involved in projects based around the local Sheffield community that kind of connects with some of the things you might have done in your degree? If so, you've got an immediate connection there that you can talk about when you message them initially. It's also worth considering your knowledge, your skills, your interests. So, how do they match up with the person you're contacting, as we've already mentioned? And more importantly, thinking about this as kind of a two-way relationship. So when you're contacting somebody, even if you're asking for advice or support, for example, don't just think about how they can potentially help you, but also think, are there ways that you could work together? Are there things you've been doing on your degree or in your final year project, for example, that might help them with some of the projects they're working on or what they're doing in the company that they work for? So think about this not just as an idea of kind of collecting useful people that can help you through your career, but actually kind of almost networking, connecting with people that you're interested in speaking with, and that you think potentially it could be a relationship that continues, a professional relationship that could continue throughout your career. So think about that two-way side of things, not just what they can do for you, but how you might also be able to kind of help them or kind of add something to the relationship that you have with them as well. Before we kind of move on, I'm going to go back to LinkedIn, which I mentioned earlier, which I know for some people you might not be familiar with, just to show you a really useful tool called the Alumni Tool that you can use to help you when it comes to looking for Sheffield Hallam graduates in a similar way to how the Hallam Collective works. So this is the Sheffield Hallam University school page on LinkedIn. Again, if you've not come across LinkedIn before, it's a professional social media network. So think of it a bit like the Facebook for kind of professionals. It's where you can search for job opportunities, you can connect with professionals from lots of different industries, and you can set up a profile, which is a bit like a live action CV that kind of changes over time. If you've not set up on LinkedIn before, almost regardless of what industry you're in, it's a really useful tool, not just for finding opportunities, but actually for building your professional network. Like we said, that kind of collection of people that can support you throughout your career and that you might want to work with in terms of particular projects or particular opportunities that might come up. So this is the Sheffield Hallam page, which anybody can follow. And if you go down to the tab sort of running just underneath the kind of introduction, you'll see that there's an alumni section. Now, this alumni tool is a little bit of a kind of hidden secret for a lot of people. It's a really, really useful tool, but not something that a lot of people use. When you click on it, what you'll find is you'll see 147,000 graduates, students, or people connected with Sheffield Hallam in some way. Now, that's quite a lot of people to look through. So a good way of kind of almost divvying this up and making this easier to kind of contextualize, I guess, is by putting keywords in. So, for example, you could look for people that might have done your course. Let's say that you did mathematics. We type that in, and we can see as a search that this brings back about 7,000 alumni. Now, what this does is it kind of shows you where are these people working. So this can be quite useful. So if you're a mathematics student, you might be thinking, okay, well, where do graduates go on to work? What parts of the country, or what type of jobs do they do? What companies do they work for? And that gives you a bit of an overview that you can then kind of break down by location or company to search for people that you could potentially contact. Now, it might be that you're not necessarily looking for people from your course, but you're looking for people, for example, doing a specific job. So let's say you're looking for fashion designers. Again, you type that into the search terms. You come back with about 690, so slightly smaller. That's quite a specific job title. And again, you can see where are these individuals working, what companies are they working at, whereabouts are they based, and you can also see are they connected with your particular course or your particular university. Of course, on this one, they will definitely be connected with Hallam, but you can find out if they're connected with your course by scrolling down and looking at their profile and seeing if they've done a course through Hallam that's connected to things like fashion design. And if so, that might be a perfect place to start in terms of reaching out to that person. They're working for a company you're interested in. They've been to Sheffield Hallam. They maybe have even done your course. You've got that instant connection, and you can send them a message, again, just to see if there's an opportunity to connect, to kind of talk about their career journey and see if there's any additional advice or insights they might be able to share to help you as you move through your career journey as well. So just a brief overview of the LinkedIn Alumni Tool, which links into a lot of the stuff we've been talking about in regard to the Hallam Collective, and particularly in terms of networking and building your professional connections. So you may have been listening to that last section thinking, okay, I've got an idea of how these kind of individuals might be able to help me with my career, but what do you mean about helping them? How could this be a two-way relationship? So on the left-hand side, you can see that this is sort of typically what people think of when they connect with professionals. How can they help me? They can maybe kind of share their knowledge with you. They can share their kind of connections. And these are things that you can also do in reverse as well. So you can do this too. You can share your knowledge from your degree, or you could share connections you might have within the university. For example, there might be an employer that you want to connect with. They're working on a project, but they might need some expertise that they don't have with a particular software or particular technology. You might know that within the university or within your academic team, there's expertise there. So again, that's something that you can kind of think of and go, right, okay, maybe I can actually connect them to someone who could help them. Again, these kind of are just sort of flipped around a little bit. So actually, this right-hand side should be talking about how other ways they can help you as well. But again, you can see here, these are the sort of things that professionals might be able to do for you. They might be able to help share kind of insights of the roles that they do, the sector they work in. They might be able to provide advice on CVs, on kind of cover letters, on applications, on interviews. They might be able to act as a professional mentor for you. They may be able to kind of endorse some of the skills that you've demonstrated. So if you've worked with them, for example, on a short-term work experience or placement, they might be able to provide an endorsement on LinkedIn, or even provide opportunities for work experience. Now, a good thing to remember is that all this might kind of be relative to you as a graduate in the future. So you may actually have this opportunity to help other people in the same way, further ahead in time. So when we're talking about that kind of two-way relationship, it's that idea of paying it forward. So there may be kind of knowledge and connections you can help share for people that you get in touch with, so industry professionals, but also looking ahead to the future, there's ways you can help other students who are on the platform as well. Maybe now, as a kind of experienced student looking at first years who might be on the platform, or maybe in the future when you've moved on to different graduate opportunities and you want to share some of your insights. So just kind of bear that in mind. These platforms, it's a bit of a two-way street. You can gain help from them, but there's also ways that you can help people in the future as well. We've talked a little bit about mentoring already. Again, I mentioned on there that on the Hallam Collective particularly, there's a willing to help banner that goes above people's heads, which provides various levels of support, and individuals can state on the profile what they're willing to help with. Are they willing to be a mentor? Are they willing to offer you advice, support? Are they maybe even providing work experience? All of that you'll find on their profile. Most mentors, like we said, that you'll see on the Hallam Collective will have studied at Sheffield Hallam, but not all of them. So again, just kind of bear that in mind, that actually it's something where there will be professionals outside of Sheffield Hallam as well that can help you. Again, some people might actually be working at Sheffield Hallam, some people might be academic staff or professional services staff, but others will work in kind of a variety of companies, large and small, and across different sectors, as we mentioned. And again, all of them will have different experiences of working in industry. So just because you've got a particular interest in one area of work, so let's say, for example, you're really interested in the manufacturing industry, it might be that the interests that you have relate to management or project management. So you could look at project managers who work across other industries like media, creative arts, for example, construction, and actually use their skills and expertise, even if they don't work in the exact type of job you're interested in. In terms of finding a mentor, as we mentioned, there is all of that information available on the Hallam Collective site. You can break it down by location, you can break it down by the company they work in, and you can also break it down by the job function, so the type of industry that they work in as well. Again, all of that's available on the Hallam Collective, as I showed you in the demo earlier. And here's an example, very similar to the one we saw earlier, of people that are on the platform and to explain how they're willing to help. So I guess final kind of notes really on the Hallam Collective as a platform. Why should you get on it? Why is it useful? Number one, it's informal. There's a lot less pressure. It's mostly Sheffield Hallam students and graduates, so there's an instant connection there. You might have more in common. So sorry, a bit of a typo on there. More in common with most of the mentors, as most of them attended Sheffield Hallam University. Makes it a bit easier for you to approach them. You can ask quick questions if needed. So again, there's the news feed. You don't just have to ask detailed questions. It's something where you might just be asking, does anyone know anything about routes into psychotherapy? So working as a psychotherapist. And somebody might just respond, yes, that's actually my background, and set up a quick chat. You can agree on the level of support you need. So again, unlike LinkedIn, which is a large kind of global platform, sometimes people can feel a little bit daunted. With the Hallam Collective, people actually specify how much support they're willing to offer, and you can kind of agree that. And also you can connect with several mentors simultaneously. So there's nothing stopping you reaching out to multiple people on the Hallam Collective platform. Before we kind of finish the session, I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the other benefits that are available to you once you leave the university. And again, you might think, why are we talking about this now? Well, it's always useful to be aware of, because a lot of people think once you've left the university, that's where the support ends. And it's worth reminding you that's definitely not the case. So you might have seen on Twitter this week that Sheffield Hallam graduates can now use the campus libraries by becoming associate members, so you can still retain basically membership of those facilities, which is really useful. And on the kind of main Sheffield Hallam website, shu.ac.uk/alumni, you'll also find that there's lots of other kind of benefits that you can use once you've left the university. That includes things like postgraduate study discounts. It includes our career support, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and obviously platforms like Hallam Collective. There's also opportunities to volunteer with the university once you've finished, to donate if you want to kind of continue supporting students, and lots of events and kind of news that gets sent across to alumni, which is what you'll become once you've left the university. And kind of coupled in with that is also our lifetime offer of careers and enterprise support that's available from Sheffield Hallam. So it's worth mentioning that this isn't the same for every service across the university, but for our careers and employability team and our enterprise team, and I'll talk about both in a second, it's a lifetime guarantee. So a lifelong offer of support that you can continue to access from these services. So with the careers and employability team, all of the support that we offer to students is also available once you leave the university. So that includes one-to-one career support with people like myself, employability advisors. And again, there are named employability advisors attached to each course area. So even after you've left, you will have a named employability advisor linked to your degree area that you can contact to speak about anything, whether it's thinking about a change in career or thinking about a different career direction after you've finished university. It might be about applying for graduate level roles. It might be about considering postgraduate study, or just kind of working out what your next steps might be after finishing your degree. We can support with all of that. We also support with practice interviews as well for people who might be kind of preparing or about to kind of enter interview processes for graduate level jobs. And we also have a variety of workshops and employer events that you can sign up to and still attend even once you're a graduate. This ranges from kind of practical workshops, so things like building a LinkedIn profile, through to employer events like Spotlight on digital and creative careers, and also kind of larger employer events like our virtual careers fair that we hold in October every year. So again, all of that you can still access as a graduate. You can also access lots of free digital career tools on a lifelong basis. I'm going to show you a couple of these in a second, including things like Handshake, Career Centre 360 and Graduates First. And we also send out a bi-monthly, I should say, Gradvantage newsletter, which contains lots of updates for graduates about the careers and enterprise support that we offer. What I'm going to do now is quickly show you some of the digital tools that you can still access as a graduate, and just show you how you can access those now as a final year student and continue to access them after you've finished your degree. So once you're on our kind of careers and employability website, which is shu.ac.uk/careers, you'll see that there's a resources section on the right-hand side. And what this will do is take you to a list of all of our resources that you can access both as a student and a graduate. The first one I'm going to mention is Handshake. So Handshake, you can see at the very top. This is our university jobs and careers events platform. Hopefully you'll have an account signed up already, but if not, you can continue using this or start using it once you've graduated from the university as well. It's a really useful place to find all number of things. So you can find jobs on here, whether these are part-time jobs or graduate jobs. You can filter it by your particular preferences, by the industries you're looking for, and you can also contact employers on here. So it's a bit of a hybrid between LinkedIn and kind of typical job sites like Indeed or Target Jobs or Prospects. You'll also see that all of our events are on here as well. So any of our kind of careers events, whether those are employer events, presentations, some of the class of 2022 week sessions, enterprise sessions, everything that you might want to sign up to during your time at university from a careers and employability perspective, you will find on Handshake. You can save events for later. You can bookmark events, bookmark jobs, and it will also send you notifications both through your computer and if you've got the mobile app for Handshake as well. So a really, really useful network and platform you can continue using once you finish university as well. The next digital tool I want to show you is Career Centre 360. This is our online careers platform that includes kind of tools, online courses to help you with all aspects of your career development, from improving your skills to kind of developing a CV, practicing interviews, psychometric tests, and lots more. So once you've clicked on Career Centre 360, it gives you a login page where you can log in using your student details. And obviously, once you've left the university, you can log in as a graduate. Once you get onto the platform, you'll see it's a really huge platform with lots and lots of different tools on. There are things like the Career Pulse tool, which gives you kind of a quick sort of self-assessment where you can kind of assess yourself against different employability skills and see what you might need to improve. So for example, if we look at the Career Pulse here, we can view the report that comes up and it tells us about particular areas that we might need to work on based on the responses that we've given. So those are things like self-awareness, things like workplace skills, how you feel about job hunting, CVs, all of those sort of things. So really, really useful tool. You'll also find on here lots of kind of very practical tools to help you with things like job searching. So for example, Under our career tools section, you'll see CV 360. This is a system that actually helps you check your CV against applicant tracking software to see kind of how it's doing and see if there's structural or format changes that you might need to make. We also have Interview 360, which is a platform where you can practice answering different interview questions and look at example answers that might help you when going through interview preparation. So a huge amount of content on here, really, really useful and something you can use on an ongoing basis. The final digital tool I want to talk about is Graduates First. Graduates First is a specific website for practicing things like psychometric assessments or video interviews, things that might come up as part of online recruitment processes. And again, it's worth remembering that in the recent kind of surveys we've had from large-scale graduate employers, around kind of 90% plus have moved completely or at least temporarily to online recruitment processes. So there is a real kind of move towards using this on a permanent basis, not just a temporary basis. So it's well worth being aware of online recruitment processes and what support's out there for you. So on Graduates First, you sign up with your Sheffield Hallam details, and this is kind of what the website looks like. It's a really kind of great space to practice the sort of assessments that might come up in recruitment processes for graduate employers. These include numerical reasoning tests, verbal reasoning tests, game-based assessments, situational judgment tests, so scenarios from the workplace, and things like video interviews, all really useful and all things that will appear within different graduate recruitment processes. There's also some very specific ones as well. So things, for example, like the IPAT test, which is used by IBM, the CAP test, which is a strengths-based assessment used by a number of different companies, and other specific tests that are used by particular industries. So well worth kind of having a look at Graduates First if you've not come across it already, and a reminder that you can continue accessing this after you've left the university as well. And then finally, just a reminder that the enterprise support from Sheffield Hallam is also available on a lifelong basis to you as a student and then as a graduate. The enterprise team support students and graduates in a variety of different ways. So they support students already who are looking at things like self-employment, freelancing, business startup, but also in developing the sort of skills needed for business. So things like, for example, PR and marketing, business strategy, commercial awareness, and all of this you can access at any point during your degree. And they support graduates in a variety of different ways. So they can support graduates with access to startup funding, one-to-one appointments with business startup advisors, business support to help you scale up a business and make it bigger. Basically workshops that can help you with your business. So like we talked about earlier, that might be PR and marketing, branding, using social media professionally. And they have a range of online interactive webinars that you can use at any time, even after you've graduated. They also allow access to graduates for the co-working space in the Hallam iLab and provide mentoring support from other businesses, so student and graduate entrepreneurs who they've helped to set up and grow their businesses. There's a couple of video examples here that you can access through their website. There's also networking opportunities, so again, opportunities to meet other businesses in the Sheffield area to help you kind of gain advice and support if you're looking to start up as a freelancer, to run your own business either as a side hustle or as your main kind of means of employment after graduating. And again, all of that is something you can take up at any point after you finish your degree or beforehand. So just before we finish, a reminder that we've got other sessions coming up as part of Class of 2022 week this week. So the sessions we've got coming up tomorrow, in the morning, we've got a session from Shoe Law about your rights at work, all about employment law and your rights within the workplace. At 11 o'clock, we've got a session from Santander about managing your money as a graduate. Both of those are going to be in person in Careers Connect. And we've also got the Wellbeing for Work session, which should be running at 1 p.m. On Thursday. And again, if you've signed up for any of these sessions, you'll know that they're going ahead, but all of these ones are physically in person. And then finally on Friday, we have the Ask a Graduate panel event, which is coming up at midday, featuring a range of different Sheffield Hallam graduates from different graduating classes, talking about their own career journeys and offering advice to current final year students. You can register your place and find out all the information about the Class of 2022 week via the link in the bottom right-hand corner of this page. Thanks for joining us for the session today. We'll stop now to take any questions if people have them, and this recording will be available on the Sheffield Hallam Careers and Employability YouTube channel by the end of the week. But thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great evening.